Hi, it's me, Vicki Marie. So first of all, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for being subscribers, all my returning subscribers. Thank you so much. Now, maybe this is the first time you've seen my channel, and thank you for clicking on. Hopefully you'll consider subscribing. Subscribing and liking the video are free ways you can help my channel. If you enjoy watching my channel and you like the content that I provide, my name is Vicki. I make videos about true crime and other things that are in the news, things that are, I think, that I find interesting, and consequently I think that you might find interesting. And yeah, so please consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Other ways you can help me grow my channel. I have quite a very, growing group of members now on my channel. Every Thursday evening is Members Live, a special members only live, where we discuss all sorts of things. We're also a bit silly. We wear masks and have a laugh as well. So it's a combination of sort of serious and fun. And if you're a member, you can either join in the live, or if you can't make the live itself, you get to see the unedited video, which I do tend to edit and put out to the public later. But if you want to see the unedited version, you have to be a member. Membership is €1.99 a month, so that's about £1.50, I suppose, in pounds, and it's cancelable anytime. Also, for the membership, you get some other extra videos and photos, and you also get to see me serializing my new true crime novel, Please Subscribe to Murder. So going back to today's video, so I've covered very thoroughly right from the beginning the Nicola Bulley case, which of course technically now is resolved. We had an inquest. The verdict was accidental death. Lots of people are not happy with that verdict. We're currently waiting for the result of the internal investigation by Lancashire Police. And then deciding, really, there's lots of people feel there are unanswered questions. Although, we've had the inquest, we're supposed to just accept the result of the inquest. There's too many unresolved issues. Now, whatever your opinion is on that, and there's lots of different opinions. There's people who think, no, that was the right verdict, let's just move on. There's people who think, no, there was foul play. There's people who think lots of different things, lots of different theories. Everybody's got their theory. Everybody's got what they think happened. And the one to me, I just concentrate on what we don't know, which is that we don't know that she fell in the river accidentally, regardless of what was said at the inquest. So for me, there are lots of unresolved questions. I don't know what happened, but there are enough unresolved questions to make me 99.9% certain that Nicola's unfortunate demise was not the way the inquest said it was. I was expecting an open verdict at the inquest. To me, that was the only verdict it could be, because there is no evidence of anything. Not accidental death, not self-deletion, not foul play. There's no proper evidence of anything. So in that case, it should have been an open verdict, in my opinion. Okay, so, I'm always digging around for information that I might have missed, for takes on things that I might have missed, and especially now we're waiting for the result of the internal police investigation, and then really I think it'll be time after. I think we know what the result's going to be, but after that will be time to decide, what do we do? Do we move on? Do we just move on, accept it as the family seem to accept it? Have the family accepted it, like the parents, the sister, have they accepted it? Or is it just her partner that's accepted it? and friends who all seem to have accepted it. I have some I'm going to put in a different video, but I do it because this is not what I'm talking about today. But anyway, it's Nicola's birthday coming up on the 12th of October. Her friends have marked it already, and I do have some photos to show you from that, but on another video. Myself and my chatters, we're going to light a candle on that day. We're all going to light a candle just in memory of Nicola. Maybe that'll be the time that we do have to move on. And I think what people have to understand is people who are still, you know, inquiring as to what happened to Nicola, we get called ghouls, or we get called all sorts of things. But we're not. We just want to know what really happened to her. So, okay, I'm just going to go and close my window because there's some works going on out here. You know, sometimes I really do think I live in the noisiest area of Spain. If it's not dogs, people talking in the street, workmen in the street, it's very irritating. Anyway, so in my travels, if you like, looking into researching various things about Nicola Bulley, which I'm doing all the time, I found a few different things, but this I thought you might find interesting, because this is a podcast from, let's see, is there a date on it? Can't see a date. Let me see if I go that one, maybe I can. So this was on the 16th of February this year. So this podcast was made 3 days, wasn't she found on the 19th of February. So it was literally just a couple of days before Nicola was found. So let me just read you the introduction. You can probably see it there. It is a story that has gathered massive interest across the country, the disappearance of Nicola Bulley. Nicola, a 45-year-old mother of 2, disappeared almost 3 weeks ago whilst walking along the River Wyre with her dog Willow. Despite a massive search in St Michael's on Wyre, a small village on the Fylde in Lancashire, no trace of Nicola has been found yet. Speculation is rife. The investigation continues, and covering the story is Alice Suffield, a reporter for Lancs Live. On this special episode of Testimony, Alice gives us the background of Nicola's disappearance, the impact on the community in St Michael's, and how some are hindering the police's investigation. Now, I thought this would be interesting because I'd never listened to it before. Maybe you've never listened to it before. And what I do find sort of very ironic, if you like, when people talk about people making podcasts like this, a reporter for the Lancs Live that was never stopped having stories about Nicola Bulley for a long time. It was every day there was something about Nicola Bulley. They don't see the irony in that they're saying that other people shouldn't talk about her. This just always amazes me. So they can talk about her. They can, you know, sell their papers by going through story after story about Nicola, or their podcasts or whatever. But nobody else can. Anybody else does it, social media, they're ghouls. They're not ghouls. No, they're not ghouls. But social media are, or the public are. Just all the irony of it's just lost on them. Anyway, so we're going to listen to it. I will comment on it. Oh, when I can find it. How do I play it? I know I can play it because I played it. I have played it once already. Oh, I know. Because for some reason it's in Spanish.
Amazon trae el entretenimiento más salvaje, como The Voice, incluido tan lejos como quieran.
Investigation now since Nicola was last seen.
1,000 back.
Okay.
It is a story that has gathered massive interest across the country, the disappearance of Nicola Bulley. Nicola, a 45-year-old mother of two, disappeared almost 3 weeks ago whilst walking along the River Wyre with her dog Willow. Despite a massive search in St Michael's-on-Wear, a small village on the Files in Lancashire, no trace of Nicola has been found yet. Speculation is rife. The investigation continues. And covering the story is Alice Suffield, a reporter for Lancs Live. On this special episode of Testimony, Alice gives us the background of Nicola's disappearance.
Now, I'm not sure if it says somewhere copyright. I don't know if YouTube is going to pick up on it. I honestly don't know. So I will every now and again stop it and comment on it. So it is fair use in my eyes, but just don't know what YouTube are going to think of it.
The impact on the community in St Michael's, and how some are hindering the police's investigation. First, Alice tells the podcast the timeline of the events on the 27th of January 2023.
So I think you might find this interesting because this is Alice giving the timeline of the events. Well, we know how often the timeline has changed. So it's interesting to see what she, as a reporter, believed the timeline was then on the just before Nicola was found.
Yeah, so this is the third week of the investigation now since Nicola was last seen. Police have been working tirelessly in these 3 weeks. The investigation has made headlines across the country and indeed around the world because it's such an unusual set of circumstances. So,
well, see, there you go. It is an unusual set of circumstances. When any case creates such interest, as she said, not only nationally, so first of all locally, most cases cause an interest locally. Few more cases cause an interest nationally, and even fewer create interest internationally. It's rare that for a case to be known all over the world. So there's a reason for that. You know, I don't know why they keep sort of wondering about that and sort of condemning it. I mean, well, for a start, the actual press, the mainstream media, fanned the flames because they were the ones that were reporting on it day in, day out, because you could see that people were interested. It's almost like a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because the more they report on something, then they get a lot of people interested in it. They know from the clicks that they get. So they think, oh, let's do more on this story. And so they do more, and then they get more clicks, and then they do more, and they get more clicks. And that's the reason they reported on it so heavily, is because people were interested in it. And it was people were reading about it online, people were buying newspapers, people were watching programs. And then, but they don't seem to think nobody else is allowed to do that. I just don't understand their way of thinking that that's exactly what they do. Everything that they condemned everybody else for doing, they had done to whip up that interest.
the police, since Nicola was last seen, they have provided us with an incredibly comprehensive timeline regarding the circumstances of her disappearance. So for those that don't know, Nicola was last seen walking her dog along the bank of the River Wyre near a small town called St Michael's-on-Wear. The town itself it's not even a town, it's a village, it's tiny. So for something like this to happen in that area, it's really, really unusual. So she was actually taking her kids to school that morning. It's all part of a morning routine. She'd drop them off, pick the dog up, and she'd walk down the riverbank. So the timeline that they've put together, she was seen on the...
Sorry, what did she say there? Just listen to that again.
On this special episode of Testimony,
Not all.
Alice gives us the background of Nicola's disappearance, the impact on the community in St. Michael's, and how some are hindering the police's investigation. First, Alice tells the podcast the timeline of the events on the 27th of January 2023.
Yeah, so this is the third week of the investigation now since Nicola was last seen. Police have been working tirelessly in these 3 weeks. The investigation has made headlines across the country and indeed around the world because it's such an unusual set of circumstances. So the police, since Nicola was last seen, they have provided us with an incredibly comprehensive timeline regarding the circumstances of her disappearance. So for those that don't know, Nicola was last seen walking her dog along the bank of the River Wyre near a small town called St. Michael's on Wyre. The town itself it's not even a town, it's a village, it's tiny. So for something like this to happen in that area, it's really, really unusual. So she was actually taking her kids to school that morning. It's all part of a morning routine. She'd drop them off, pick the dog up, and she'd walk down the riverbank.
That's strange, isn't it? She said she dropped the kids off, picked the dog up, and walked down the river path. So what does she mean, pick the dog up? From where?
So the timeline that they've put together, she was seen on the path at 7:15 on the 27th. She was then seen by a dog walker again at 8:50. She emailed her boss at 8:53 and joined a Teams call at 9:01. She was seen by a witness at 9:10, and that is the last time anyone can say they've seen Nicola. So her phone was logged onto the Teams call until it ended at 9:30, and then her phone and the dog Willow were found by another walker. So since then, the police have searched the river. They've searched all the way down to Morecambe Bay. They've searched the caravan park. That's the new search that they've done. And they've knocked throughout the town of St. Michael's.
Okay, so I'm still a bit thinking about that pick the dog up. I presume she means she picked the dog up out of the boot of the car, because wasn't Willow in the boot of the car? Didn't go home and pick the dog up, did she? Who knows in this case? It's all so confusing. So anyway, so I think the rest of it more or less ties in with what was said after.
So that's really where we are. Obviously, new information comes forward every day, but the main hypothesis of the police is still that she fell into the river.
So you've been to the press conference today. We're recording this on the 15th of February. What did you find out at the press conference?
So the press conference today was, in my opinion, it was a reminder from the police that they are still looking. They didn't have any real new information other than they still believe.
So she's saying there that press conference she'd been to that day, which I think was the Rebecca Smith press conference, there was no new information. So the 16th of February, so Nicola was found on the 19th. Yeah. But he said you've been to a press conference today. Was that on the 16th of February, that press conference? Anyway, they may have recorded this before it was actually released, so shouldn't put much stock by that.
That she fell in the river. They do not think there's been any criminal involvement at this time, although they have said they are keeping an open mind. They've also asked, which I think is actually really quite heartbreaking for a case like this, especially from a family's point of view, they've had to ask people to stop introducing false evidence and false trails into the...
Oh my God, she's so prissy, isn't she? It's like, God, they had to ask people to stop introducing false evidence. I don't think people did introduce false evidence. People were probably, I agree, were over enthusiastic maybe in trying to help. But false evidence?
Case, it's distracting them from what they're looking for. And people may not think they're doing it maliciously, But we've seen it ourselves on our site. Other sites across the country have seen it. People are so invested that they're speculating. They're putting out their messages. So, for example, today I've had to take a comment down from our site. It was a YouTube video from someone that's basically decided that Nicola's been taken by someone. And they've put that out there. The family can see that. The friends of her can see that. It's horrible. And the police today, among many other things, among discussing new lines of inquiry, I've had to remind people that at the heart of this, there is a woman that's gone missing, leaving up.
I think people know that at the heart of it, there's a woman that's gone missing. That's why they're so invested in it. It's strange, really, isn't it? Because it's true, you know, when someone becomes a victim, anything that reaches the press, you know, the thing is that they should not put things on that where people can comment. And if they don't want people to comment, turn off the comments. If basically what you're saying is, yes, we want you to comment, as long as you're just saying how great we are, then that's probably not a good thing, is it? But well, I'm very torn about this, because I know that some people did maybe go a little bit over the top. And I do agree with that. But then how do you have to deal with those people? You can't just stop everybody commenting.
Partner and 2 young children behind. And I think it's just, it baffles me a little bit. It's something I've not seen before. As for other parts of the press conference, a report of this stained glove came out. I don't know if you've heard about it yet. It's come from The Sun, and the report is that some people that have taken it.
Yeah, so here we go. There was the glove. Remember the glove? And we looked at that video not long ago. But the thing is, if they found that glove, if people went out and looked and found that glove, what were they supposed to do? Just throw it in the bin? I mean, they had to present it to the police. And what she said is a story that came out in The Sun. It's The Sun that made the story. It's The Sun that printed the story. Those people who found the glove, they can only, you know, use their social media that will go around to sort of local people, you know, their friends, and it might get shared, etc. But the thing is, it's The Sun. This is it. The mainstream media uses the social media for its own news.
Upon themselves to help the investigation have reported that they found this stained glove. We don't know anything more about that at this point in time, other than it's just a new piece of evidence. They've also debunked reports of the fishermen by the river, which I agree with the superintendent. There is no reason why fishermen wouldn't be by a river. It's not suspicious to me at all. And they've
Yeah, but the thing is, the point about the fishermen was, it wasn't suspicious to see fishermen by the river. It's suspicious that they didn't come forward when they were asked to come forward. It's like the man in black. It's not suspicious to see a man dressed in black. It's suspicious that they've never traced that man or said who he was, or even mentioned him, to be honest, till the inquest. So I think, you know, she's completely wrong there, because people weren't saying, oh gosh, what were fishermen doing at the River Wyre that morning? They were saying, who were these people? What would normally happen, isn't it, is come forward and identify yourself, and we can take you off the, you know, remove you from our inquiries. But they never did. They still don't know who they were.
Also debunked the red van, the suspicious red van. Both of these they've looked into, and they've both said they're not suspicious. So they're just following on the line of inquiry that she's gone in the river, and they're continuing to search the areas that they've searched previously.
I mean, something like a missing persons case, it's very time sensitive after they go missing. And the last thing you need is to add more time debunking things where, like you said, people might think they're being helpful. Some people might be malicious, but that's adding time onto something that's already time sensitive.
Yeah.
You know, and that's true. You don't want false information, but you want the police in the beginning, of course, in any case, they ask for whatever information, however small. Paul asked for it, Nicola's dad asked for it, everybody asked for it, Emma asked for it. Please, whatever information, however insignificant you think it is, because it could be the, you know, the vital piece of evidence. It just makes me angry when they say this. So what they're saying is, oh yeah, you find a stained glove, but no, don't give it to the police. Don't give it to the police because it's nothing to do with it. Let the police decide if it's something to do with it or not.
Yeah, I mean, they have said that in every press conference I've been to, the longer that goes on from the day she went missing, obviously this coming Friday, it'll be the 3rd week of since she's gone missing. Obviously, it's an incredibly long time for it to still be a missing persons case. Normally, there's been a development one way or another at this point, which I think is why it's garnered so much attention, because I was asked the question today, actually, of why they're holding this press conference, if there's nothing new to tell us. I think, it's to remind people that they are still looking, but also if they've nothing new to tell us, it's just so bizarre to me that they have nothing. There's no evidence either way.
No, the thing is, they held that press conference. She's a bit annoying, Alice. Alice, come on. She held the press conference was held because everyone was so critical of the investigation and it was so conflicting. And Sally Riley had made a right cock up of everything. That's why that press conference was held with the big guns.
And it must be so heartbreaking for the family to not have an answer of whether she's been taken or whether she's, fallen in. Those are the...
Well, I agree. It must have been heartbreaking, but, so the public were trying to help. Maybe there was surely for most of the public, they were trying to find out what happened to her, not trying to be, nasty or obstruct the investigation.
Some of the hypotheses the police are working towards.
What have the family said so far?
The family in particular, Paul Ansell, Nicola's partner, he's been very vocal that he doesn't believe that she's gone in the river. He says there's no evidence. This is something the police have also confirmed. There's no evidence that she has gone in the river, but there's no evidence that she's gone anywhere else. He is just desperate, as the rest of the family are, to bring her home. He says he doesn't believe that it's real, and he's fighting every day for his girls because that's the only thing that's keeping him going at the moment.
He has a bit of an effect on women, I think, Paul.
I don't know if you remember the interview that her Nicola's mum and dad did. They very much believe the same sort of thing, that they don't believe she's gone in the river. Obviously, it's really hard, especially knowing that if your daughter was a really strong swimmer, as it's come out that she was.
So it's come out she was a really strong swimmer. Do you remember at the inquest, the coroner said she was a holiday swimmer?
It's hard to follow that hypothesis, obviously, knowing the person so well. In terms of one of her friends has had to sadly put out a list of myth debunking facts, basically just addressing some of the most popular questions that are being asked on social media. So the fact that she was a good swimmer, the fact that
she was a good swimmer,
it was part of a daily routine, what she was doing, just confirming what she was wearing, that sort of thing. It's really, imagine having to do that when someone's gone missing, actually being actually she could swim, actually, this is what we're confirming now. I can't fathom what they must be going through. It must be really, really hard, especially as now we're in the 3rd week.
Why?
So I don't see how she's saying that was the public's fault, because it was the police who said she'd gone in the river. Anyway.
Why do you think there's been so much interest in this story in particular?
I think, it's got a lot to do with the circumstances. As I mentioned earlier, the complete lack of evidence pointed in any sort of direction. It makes it really hard for the police and us as press and the public to...
The first thing that she said that I really do agree with, it's the absence of any sort of evidence.
Get a grasp of what has happened. Missing people, if they either show up or they don't. And obviously to have no sign of either at this point is really quite concerning. But it's gripping the attention of the public, which is why I think the case is getting so much attention. Obviously that doesn't make it any easier for the family or her friends, but that is why. There has been some stories in the media recently that have come out about people that are upset that this woman is getting so much attention, of which, of course, her case deserves. But why?
I understand that, because if your loved one had gone missing and it was getting no attention whatsoever, it must be quite galling, really, to see all the attention that Nicola was getting.
Their relatives that have gone missing receive the same amount of attention. I remember coming across the story of the daughter of a gentleman who the police say fell into the river in very similar circumstances, but we've not heard about that to the same level that we've heard about this. Obviously, All anyone wants from these cases is for them to be found safe and well. But it's I think I would like to say it's my opinion that the popularity or the infamy surrounding this case, I don't think it's doing any favours, to be honest. I think it's harming the family. I think it's hindering the police investigation. And I think it's really bringing...
Yeah, well, it was in Lancs Live. This story was in Lancs Live daily. So it's ironic, isn't it, how she's saying that? But she reported on it every day.
Out an ugly side of people, especially seeing what I see on social media, on our posts, on other sites' posts. It's causing people that wouldn't normally engage in this sort of behaviour to offer their opinions about what's happened to this woman. And I think a lot of people, because it's so notorious at this point, I don't know notorious is the right word, but I think it's causing people to forget that there is a real person at the centre of this.
Yeah, so I disagree with her there, because at the end of the day, I don't think anybody has forgotten that there's a real person. That's the whole point.
Hey, que no quiero ser yo el que te corte el podcast, que seguro que está.
Under normal circumstances, we would write about as a destination feature, somewhere for people to go and visit. It's beautiful. The walk that she was on is incredibly scenic, but people aren't coming for that. They're coming to try and, search the riverbanks. They don't think the police have done the right job. They've come to investigate themselves. Imagine coming from as far away as Liverpool to a tiny town in Lancashire to search for this woman that nothing.
As far away as Liverpool. Liverpool's an hour away from there. She makes it sound as if people are coming in from Africa or somewhere. To me, that just says there's a bit of a small mind there, because as far away, and I wondered what she was going to say, but as far away as Liverpool. Liverpool isn't far away.
About it absolutely baffles me. People have actually been arrested over sending malicious messages to members of Nicola's family, to her friends. The police have had to intervene on that level.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
And it's taken away from their resources looking for Nicola. I don't know how aware you are of the abandoned mansion that's not abandoned, it's lived in. People have been coming to search the abandoned mansion. The police have had to tell people to stay away. They've had to offer sort of levels of protection for the people. I remember seeing, actually, a particularly horrible video of a gentleman that was spotted on the land near that mansion, and it was next to a picture of the alleged killer of Nicola Bulley. Obviously, we don't know if that's the case. The hypothesis is she fell in the
I'm not sure which video she's referring to there.
River, but this psychic medium has drawn a picture of what the person she thinks that Nicola Bulley's killer looks like, and
I don't like that. I cannot, as much as I do believe that some psychics are genuine, all that just doesn't do it for me. I was listening to one the other day, and she said, "Oh yeah, Nicola said this and Nicola said that," and that to me does do a lot of damage. I could do a reading right now and tell you, "Oh yeah, Nicola said this to me and Nicola said that to me," but I'm not sure what she meant by that or what you think. That is not helpful. The psychic things, they're not helpful at all, because the police can't deal with that. Police can't arrest someone on the basis of a drawing that a psychic makes, or what a psychic says Nicola told them in a reading, or that they don't help.
Held it up next to this person that allegedly was seen on the land nearby. All this speculation is horrible. Imagine if you're that poor man and you're being named as this woman's killer that hasn't even been confirmed dead yet. It's absolutely shocking to me. There's been
well, I don't know what video she's referring to, but yes, of course, that would be shocking. She's not even been confirmed dead yet, and they're accusing someone of being the killer. I don't know if any of you know that video.
Seances held as far down as Portsmouth, where people are looking at images of the site, and
well, she says as far down as Portsmouth. I mean, people doing seances in the United States, and seeming to think that if Nicola could visit someone and talk to them, she would turn up to a spirit box in the middle of the deep south or whatever and have a southern accent, a deep southern accent. I mean, just ridiculous, those videos, I think, my opinion. Absolute rubbish.
Sort of, trying to get a feel of what happens. Like it's almost like people are treating it as a game, but it's not a game. It's this woman's life, it's a family's life, it's a daughter's lives that are affected by this, as well as people that are coming forward, people that have been asked to help in police inquiries are getting abuse online. It's speculation. Oh, I bet she was involved. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I know what she means. And, we've all been guilty of that, of thinking, but I don't think you can stop people speculating. I think probably when anything, trying to think of a similar thing, when Madeleine McCann went missing, or, what we've got to remember is, people like Emma, Paul, and even Nicola's parents, they did do interviews, and especially Emma, because she did 19 interviews. So they put themselves out there in the public eye, making these interviews. Paul did an 1.5 hour long interview or whatever for Channel 4. So, Channel 5. So the thing is, if somebody goes and does an interview like that, as he did on the Channel 5 with Dan Walker, people are going to comment, and some people are going to comment and say, "Oh, poor guy, he looked desperate," or whatever, and other people are going to comment and say, "Oh, he was strange the way he was talking." That's just that when you go, if something happened and you go on and make an interview on, primetime telly, you're going to get comments. They won't all be positive, because that's not possible. And I would challenge those people themselves to look at their own social media and what comments do they make or not make. Everybody, as long as you're not like really nasty. I mean, I agree. If anybody's really nasty, saying really nasty, I have seen some very nasty comments. There's you don't have to speak in a really sort of horrible way about them. I don't know, sort of. But the thing is, you put yourself out there, and that is what happens, unfortunately, on social media.
It's not on. It is absolutely not on. And as I've said, it's like people have forgotten that this is someone's life that they're dealing with, and they just don't seem to care.
It's an infringement into privacy and potentially grief. So, we don't know.
Well, it's not an infringement into privacy, because people were going on TV making interviews. Probably if you added all the interviews up together, there was over 20, maybe, 22, 23 interviews done on mainstream media. So I don't think you can call it an invasion of privacy.
So we don't know what's happened to Nicola yet.
Exactly, we don't. There is no evidence of anything. As I've said, the police are continuing their investigations. Everything the police tell us, we tell the public. The public has all the information that the police have given us as reporters. For them people to be speculating like this, for the police to have to step up and say, please don't do this, you're disrupting our investigation.
Yeah, but basically what she's saying there is don't ask any questions except for the police are giving us the information, us journalists, and we're giving it to you, and don't ask anything else.
I actually can't fathom that this is happening, especially on a case that's so sensitive as a missing persons case.
As a journalist, we have restrictions. Well, number one, it's legal restrictions, but I think decency restrictions as well. Ethically, we've got to find the right way to cover it. How have you found? What's been your perspective on this? How have you found reporting on this story personally?
For me, I think it's been quite hard. I think there is the misconception that journalists know a lot more than they're letting on. For me, I've had friends, family, people.
Yeah, I don't think you know more. I think you know less probably than some other people about what's going on, because people don't want to tell you things, maybe because, gosh, I mean, journalists at the end of the day, they do an important job, don't get me wrong, and we use the mainstream media sometimes for our own research, don't we? I'm using it now, but they're so sniffy about it. There's a different way that they could deal with things, different way the police could deal with things. I think basically social media has got a bit out of control as far as the police are concerned and laws are concerned. And I know they're trying to do something about it, aren't they? But it's a very tricky situation, because is free speech going to be the sort of collateral damage from this freedom of information, not freedom of information, freedom of speech, this bill that they've just, what do they call it, the safety something, anyway, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a rocky road to go down, because people do have to have free speech. But there is a difference between free speech and attacking or insulting people's speech. It's different if you say, oh, I don't agree with Fred. It's different from, I don't agree with you, Fred, because it's different from saying, fuck off, Fred, you're a right idiot. What load of shite that is that you've just said. Sorry, excuse my French, but I'm just trying to illustrate the point. Those are completely saying the same thing, but it's different. You can disagree with someone respectfully, giving your reasons for disagreeing. It's like that recently with Lawrence Fox. It wasn't that he disagreed with that woman, Ava, for what she'd said. He had every right to disagree with her. But it was the things he said, oh, well, what self-respecting man in his right mind would want to SHAG that? You can't say that. That's not free speech. That's hate speech. So there's a difference between free speech and hate speech.
Acquaintances, people I barely know, come up to me and go, what do you think's happened to Nicola? And I turn around and say, I know as much as you do. I've written the stories that you read. I know nothing more than I've already put out there to the public. All our information comes from the police, and that's all I know. It also makes it incredibly hard when you've got this sort of, your friends and family asking you. It makes it hard to not take on board their speculation, because obviously everybody has an opinion of what's happened, whether that be right, wrong. Everyone has some sort of idea of what they think's happened, and it's hard as a reporter to separate that side of human nature.
Exactly, human nature, she's going to say, it is, and the reporter's job is to report on the facts. A reporter cannot report on gossip, really. Well, they could, but they've got to make it clear that it's gossip, and I don't even think they're allowed to. So I think reporters report on facts. They are bound by rules. They are bound by ethics, etc. In the mainstream media, and that's how it should be. You can't just say, oh yeah, I think Nicola Bulley was pushed in the water by Penny Fletcher, like some fools have said on YouTube. You can't say that in the mainstream media unless you had proof, like a video of her doing that. I mean, I've heard some strange theories about the Nicola Bulley case, but that's probably one of the most ridiculous.
Nature that causes people to sort of want to, talk about it and talk about what they think's happened, and then remember that you've got the facts, and the facts that you need to write, and you need to remind people, actually, no, we don't know if that's happened. Actually, no, we don't know that this is the case. And it's
yeah, and I do try and do that as well. On quite often people say not only about this, like about the kidnapping that was covering of the young girl, and all the rumours came out there. It was like the guy was a mailman, or the guy was the brother of an SEX offender, and I always have to add to the comment and say, look, we don't know that. That's not been confirmed. That's not been confirmed. And I did notice that even some almost mainstream media places, they were saying like, well, we can't speculate, but we have heard, because they want to be the first with the first. I don't care about being the first with the story or whatever. I'd rather wait and get the truth, the evidence. I don't want to be the first to say that kidnapper was a mailman. I don't care if I'm the first. I don't care if I'm the 100th. I don't care if I'm the 500th person to say it. But when I say as a mailman, I will know for sure is a mailman, because the police or somebody official will have said he's a mailman, not Fred up the road or some YouTuber who can't be bothered waiting for the evidence of it, just thinks it's okay to just say it.
Made it quite hard in that sort of sense. The other thing, it's quite close to home for me. I'm from Preston, so St Michael's is maybe 10 miles away. It's about an half an hour drive. It's not far at all, and like I said, it's an absolutely gorgeous place. It's beautiful. For it to be happening so close to home with a woman that lived not that far away, it's quite. It gives that very real reminder that it could be any of us.
It is a very beautiful place. It is a very beautiful. Oh, so she lives in Preston, 10 miles away, not as far as Liverpool then. Let me see how I still can't get over. I thought she was, I don't know what I thought she was going to say. People have come from as far as, I thought she was going to say like South Africa or Australia or even Spain or something, and then she said as far as Liverpool. So let's see, how far is Liverpool from St Michael's? Oh, 1 hour and 21 minutes. Oh my God. People have come all the way from Liverpool. 1 hour and 21 minutes. Goodness me. I mean, is it just me? I mean, I've always, let's just have a look here on here. I've always travelled with work. So when I worked on the race courses, we would travel 3-4 hours sometimes just to get to a race course. So an hour and 20 minutes is nothing. But it's funny how people have this. Some people have this sort of, I suppose it depends on your life experience. I did notice when I was in, so I'm trying to look, where was my niece? My niece is in Bury. And when we went from Bury, which I suppose is somewhere along here, and she's a teacher and she works in a school, and one of the people who work in the school lives in St Michael's, and she said, oh, she travels all the way from St Michael's every day. But it was probably wasn't even an hour. It was about 45 minutes. But people have different ideas about what's far, I suppose. I personally don't think that's far at all. I mean, yeah, you wouldn't just pop up there maybe every day, but if you wanted to pop up and see the scene like I did, I wanted to go and see the scene because you see it on the TV and that. I wanted to see it for myself, and probably a lot of people would feel like that. I don't think there's anything wrong in that, is there? Dear me. Sorry, let me go back to I don't know whether I was actually on them, but anyway.
Be any of us that have walked down by the river, that have not come home that night to the family, and it's been a big sort of reality check actually, that that it could happen to any one of us.
Let's talk about St Michael's. You've
I do agree with her there. I thought that last picture of them all getting into the car, etc., was very poignant. The last day that they'd all be together. Very, very sad.
been on the ground, you've been talking to the people there. Can you describe sort of the impact on the town and what the residents have been saying to you?
Yeah, I think from what I've seen, it's taken the town completely by surprise. When I've been sort of talking to residents, the words they've sort of said to me are the shocked, it's surreal, they don't believe it's happening, they can't believe the attention that their tiny village is garnering from the rest of the country and indeed the world. It's like all eyes are on them, and I think that's part of the reason why they're so keen to be seen to be helping, but also it's an incredibly tight community. Someone said to me when I was speaking to residents, it's the type where you know your neighbours' names, you know the children that live elsewhere in the county, you know when you see them walking the dog, you'll say hello and have a catch up. Everyone.
God, it just sounds awful. It's my worst nightmare. It just sounds like my village.
Everyone knows everyone, and people will have known Nicola, and that's why they're so keen to sort of help find her, because she was one of theirs. Even though she lived in Inskip, she came regularly. People knew who she was. They said hello. I remember speaking to one gentleman, and he said that he was 84. He lived with his wife, and he said that he couldn't remember a time in his life. He's lived in St Michael's all of his life. He can't remember anything of this size, scale, or anything like this happening before. And he said it's almost like he doesn't know the village anymore.
That's a bit dramatic, isn't it? It's a bit dramatic. He doesn't know the village anymore.
It's not the village he knew when he grew up in, which I think's a real shame, but it's also such a testimony to how unusual this incident is.
You'll be continuing to report on the story as it develops. Alice Suffield, reporter at Lancs Live, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, so what did you think about that? Let me know, as always, in the comments what your thoughts are about what Alice had to say. Did you agree with her and everything she said? Was there some things you didn't agree with? As always, I don't expect you all to agree with me. All I expect is a respectful disagreement. If you do disagree, please go ahead and put it in comments. Just be respectful, that's all. Okay, so thank you so much. Remember to live and love very carefully, very wisely. I'll keep on looking for things that I think you might find interesting until this result of this police inquiry comes out, and then we can decide if then I think that's when I've got to decide, am I just going to leave this alone, or go forward with it? Will there be any way of going forward? So that's the question. So yes, 12th of October is Nicola's birthday. We'll all be lighting a candle. We were thinking of, I want to say a yellow candle, but I just don't know if I can get a yellow candle or not. I've got to go and have a look. So if I manage to get a yellow one, it'll be yellow. But don't worry, if you're, any candle will do. And hopefully we can all do that at a certain time on Thursday, the 12th of October. So I'll see you very soon in the next video. And until then, may your God always go with you. Thank you. Bye.